Good morning, YouTube. How are we doing this morning? I'm doing great. I'm back with another one, another exciting one. But welcome back. Thank you guys for coming back. Appreciate it. Today we're going to be working on the truck. I know I've been saying I'm going to change the transmission in it, and that's where we're at. We're underneath it today. So the transmission is already out of the truck. I took it out the other day. I didn't want to record that because I'm glad I didn't. It was a shit show. I ended up dropping the transmission on the ground and it was a mess. But anyway, I have an oil leak on the engine. I'm going to address that while the transmission's out of it because it's just going to be easier to do. I believe it's the oil pan gasket leaking. It's leaking in the front of the pan and the rear of the pan. So that makes me think that, okay, it's not a main seal. And this engine, I think I've mentioned it, this engine is still brand new. I don't even, I would be surprised if it had over 1,500 miles on this engine. And what I did when I put it together, I used a one-piece gasket on the oil pan. First time I've ever used the one-piece gasket, and it's the last time I'll ever use one. I'm not a fan. So anyway, let's walk in here. I'll show you what we got going on today. We'll turn you around here. See, the truck's way up in the air as far as I could get it. And walk around here. There's the new transmission that's going in it. We'll talk more about that later. There's the old Turbo 400 that come out of it. That's still a good transmission. I did drop it. I broke an ear off of it, but it's not in the mounting flange. It's right here. It's this. In fact, that's it. That's it right there. I'll probably just JB weld that back on. All that does is it retains the bolts for the dust cover. So luckily it didn't get into the actual mounting flange for the transmission. So if somebody wants it, they'll probably get it really cheap because, like I said, it's got a brand new torque converter in it too. So it was a good transmission. I just wanted the overdrive. Okay, so let's crawl under the truck and I'll show you what I'm talking about, where this thing is leaking oil at. So let's do this. I think you can see right in here. But anyway, I'll have to pull the flex plate off of it. I don't think I'll have to pull the starter. Let's get the oil dumped out of this. Oil filter off of it. I want to cut the oil filter open to see what it looks like inside. I'll come back when we get the oil dumped and the filter off of it. All right, got the oil dumped. I'm going to let that filter drain a while before I cut it open. Let most of the oil drain out. So we'll go back under here now. I got the flex plate off of it, as you can see. And so let's just start pulling the pan bolts out of it. See if that pan will drop down. See if we can get lucky here. All right, I got all the bolts out but these last two here, so let's see if the panel, drop these two guys here, we'll see if the panel come out or not. I'm not very optimistic about it, but oh, look at there, it does come out. Oh, let's see. Well, all right, let's see about this gasket here. You can see right there, right here where it was running past the gasket, so let's see, we can push this dipstick up. It almost looked like it was running past right there. Let's look up here in the front. Yeah, it looks like, yeah. I'm going to say that was our leak. Let's see if we can get it out of here. And it was on the pan side, it looked like. All right, guys, so I got the filter cut open. And you probably can't see this, but I'm not seeing anything in here, so that's a good thing. There's one little tiny speck right there, but I think you're going to get something every time you change your oil. But there's no crazy amount of metal shavings in here. There was like, I think I ran across one or two just really tiny specks. So we're going to call that good. Yeah, and I thought I was recording when I was cutting it open, but I wasn't. This little tool right here is pretty nice. I don't know where I got it. Probably ordered it online or something, but just put your oil filter in it, and you just stick your oil filter, you know, your canister in there, and start cranking it down and turning it. It's like basically like a pipe cutter, I guess, or tubing cutter. It's got a cutting wheel right here, a couple of rollers. So it's probably something a person should do every time they change their oil, just to kind of, you know, keep an eye on things. All right, this pan gasket, you can see right in here, it wasn't sealed, and right in here was the same way, or actually, yeah. Looks like it might even been coming around that side a little bit. It's hard to tell. But I was thinking about just throwing some right stuff in here and trying to put this thing back together, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to just go buy a traditional pan gasket, put on this. I thought I had one up there on the shelf, but I guess I don't. I'll keep looking. I might have one around here somewhere. If not, I'll have to run down and get one and see if I can get one anyway. At any rate, stick around. We'll get those rails cleaned up. We'll get a new gasket put on this. Throw a ton of goop on it so it doesn't leak, and get that pan put back in this thing. Then we can start thinking about putting the transmission in it. All right, guys, here we are. This is a day and a half later. I went to O'Reilly's. I got my oil pan gaskets. Well, they ordered the wrong gasket. I needed the thick one. If you're not familiar with the small block Chevys, the first generations, they had the oil pan. They changed the oil pan in them, and you could either get an oil pan that took a thin gasket or the thick gasket, which is this guy right here, which goes around the back of the oil pan. And so they changed them in 74. Pre-74 had the thin gasket. 74 and after had the thicker gasket until they got up to, like, I think it was 86. In the small block Chevy, they put the one-piece rear seal in, which was a one-piece pan gasket. But anyway, I need my pan on this truck, even though it's a 71. My pan, oil pan, that was on the original engine was all beat to shit. So I put a different pan, which is out of a 70, I believe it's like about a 76 or so, which takes the thicker gasket, obviously. So with that debacle done, I got the right gasket finally. So I'm going to go under the truck. I'm going to clean off the rails. I'm going to take some brake cleaner. Right there, I've got just some brake cleaner and a rag, and I'm going to wipe off the rails and get that nice and clean and dry. Then I'm going to take the right stuff, and I'm going to just go around with a thin coat on the block, bottom of the block, on the gasket rails, and we'll stick the gasket to it. Then we'll write stuff in the corners so they don't leak, and we'll put this back together. I just did a thin layer of the right stuff around the rails of the block, and that's more just to hold the gasket up there than anything. The cork part of it, usually that's not usually the part that leaks. It's usually right here in the corners. So I'll just make sure I get that good. So let's I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but I'm going to try. That one's going to go right here. Just like that. Again, we will put a little dab right in here. Okay, so I got my gasket stuck up here. My end seals. A little dab right here on each corner. I got these guys right here that actually came with the other one-piece pan gaskets. I saved those just to help line it up. I'm gonna let this set a little while to kind of make sure it's good, and well, it's stuck pretty good. So I'm going to go grab the pan. We'll slide the pan up in there and put some bolts in it. All right, so what I did, I put just a real thin layer all the way around my pan. I put just a tiny bit extra in the corners, but not much. So, you know, people say, and I've heard it over and over, that you don't want to use silicone. A chunk breaks off, it's going to get in your oil passages and blow your motor up. And well, I don't know any other way to seal up one of these pans. And this engine is going to be setting, I won't fire this thing up for, I got the transmission out of it. It's going to sit there and it's going to set up for weeks before I ever fire the engine up. So this is what I'm doing. This is the way I do it. If somebody else wants to do it different, have at it, you know, but I'm just showing you how I do it. Right or wrong, this is my method, so that is what it is. Let's get under there and slide this pan up in there. We'll put our 4 corner bolts in. And I'll take my light, make sure everything appears to be lined up. Then we can start putting our small ones in. I won't tighten any of them down till I get them all started. All right, so I got all my bolts in. I don't have it tight. I just got everything just snug, not even really snug, but everything is just to where they're touching. I'm going to let this set for, I don't know, a few hours anyway. Then I'll come back around and tighten them up. That's kind of pretty much where we're at with it. All right, guys, there you have it. The oil pan leak. That's the way I do it. I was very lucky that I was able to get the pan off of it without jacking the engine up. Last time I did one, it was a car, but I ended up take the motor mounts loose, jack the engine up. That was no fun. This one wasn't too bad. You know, I had the transmission out of it, so that made a big difference, I think. I got, you know, without that flex plate on there. I think it's gonna seal up and be nice. I'm not gonna start it for a while. Make sure that sealant is nice and set up. I'm gonna pull the headers off of it, I think. Try to clean those up and paint them. Then we're going to put the transmission back in it. I might bring you along for the transmission install. You know, when I pulled it out, it was, you know, they're pretty straightforward pulling out. But I have to, on the transmission, I'm going to have to modify my cross member, get rid of that original cross member on the truck. I have a universal one over there that I picked up that was really, I got it for next to nothing, just paid a couple of bucks for it. I have to make some ends for it. The original cross members on these trucks, I could use it. They're just a real pain to get in and out. And I had to just beat the hell out of the thing with a hammer to get it out of there. And that's because I wasn't able to slide it back. I think I've mentioned this truck was a long bed truck, you know, originally when I got it. And I shortened it. And when I cut the frame, I put plates in there. I used the Brothers kit where it comes with plates that C-channel that goes inside the frame, and where you cut them at, it's not meant for that cross member to come out. So when whoever designed that kit didn't think that part through very well. So, but it was a pain, to say the least. So I've got a smaller cross member that's going to work for me. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. Anyway, that was the oil pan, and I have no doubt my leak is fixed. Like I said before, whether this is the right way to do an oil pan or the wrong way, it's my way, and that's what I've always done, and it's always worked for me. Other than the one time when I had a Camaro and I put an engine in it, and I didn't seal the oil pan on it, and lo and behold, same thing I got right here. And I knew I should have, well, this gasket, this one-piece gasket, I used it because I didn't want to have to seal the oil pan, because they say, oh, these here, you don't have to worry about sealing the oil pans. Well, you kind of do. But anyway, so come back next time. We'll be doing something with more than likely the transmission. We'll be putting the transmission back in it and get it set up, and I'll have that extra gear. You guys like, subscribe, comment. Till then, see ya.